Hello, TCI family, Jonathan's Refuge, all of the men down at our refuges, our 4 different locations, and all of our faithful followers and our friends and the new people that are coming to our channel. We appreciate you. Thanks for reaching out to us. We love you. As always, I like to jump right into our message. We try to keep them about 20 minutes or less. And we learned that anytime you go more than that, you're kind of just blowharding it. Unless you're teaching, and then you're doing more classroom style where you could take a lot of notes, then people can retain. But the truth is, after 20 minutes, we don't really retain anything we hear. So let's jump into it. We're coming to you live from the headquarters here. Let me move a different direction. The headquarters at GCS, Grace Connection Services, our nonprofit, TCI, the Church of Inclusion, all the different organizations that are under our umbrella are housed on this 15.64 campus. And it's a beautiful campus. We overlook Marysville and the Sound in the direction behind me over that porch that literally you can't really see too well right now because it's all socked in by the clouds. But that is the Olympic mountain range and the Sound, the ocean between us, which is beautiful. And then, of course, behind me, which is where we're putting a beautiful facility being developed and built right now. Of course, our one of our corporate tractors and many other things. There's a big construction. Which way am I pointing? You got to point reverse when you're on camera. So that is the new staircase that is being beautifully built. And we're so grateful for the men and women that are helping us. For those that want to help us build this multi-million-dollar facility for the people that we help and help us continue to have a 0% recidivism rate, which means we've never lost one man back to prison that have been in our house, in our program. And so if you want to continue to help that, please reach out. Let us know how you want to help. Volunteer, finances. There's a lot of ways. But let's get started. You know, the title is talking about, are you a solution finder or are you a solution blocker? What are you? I love the saying that says, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Because that's what your future is. One of the men in my organization came up to me and he's like, hey, man, so how do I get to your life? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, how do I get to where you're at financially? And I'm like, oh, so you want to learn what it's like to get to where I'm at? And he's like, yes. What's the path? You always talk about helping me find paths. I'm like, okay, well, show me your friends. Who are your friends? And made a piece of paper. We took notes, wrote down each name of his friends. There was only 3 main friends. There was 2 that were kind of on an outer circle. So we drew the inner circle. We had 3, and then we drew an outer circle. And we had 2 more. And then everything after that, they're all kind of in the same category: distant family members, distant friends. You know 100 people really close, right? But do you really associate with them all the time? Not really. And so we got through that, and we realized something. I said, do you know what your friends make for a living? And of course he did. Ballpark, they make like $26 and something an hour. This one guy did. Another guy made like $24 an hour. No matter what happened, all of his friends made about the same money. And I said, well, there's your financial future, because you are the sum of your friends. I know some of you are going to go, that just rubs me the wrong way there, Bishop. I don't care if it rubs you the wrong way or not. It's a fact. There's science and there's facts. The sky is up there. The earth is down under my feet. Those are facts. You don't have to like that the earth is under my feet, but it's under my feet. And you don't have to like that there's a space up there. There's an atmosphere, but those are all facts. People who hang out with people, that's who your friends are. That's who you are. Look at our friends around us. We all own the same style house. If I'm in a home that's worth 600, 700,000, my friends' homes are usually 6, 700,000. As I look back over my life, when I had a Mercedes, most of my friends had a Mercedes, a BMW, a Lexus. When I got my first vacation home, I remember that. I got my first vacation home, and I noticed a lot of my friends had vacation homes. Oh, so see, I didn't have one before. And then I started elevating myself, and I hung out with people that had more than I did. And when I did that, I started listening. You pay attention. Like, what do they do? Where do they go on vacation? Why do they go there? And then you find out that Bob and Mary went to such and such, and they played golf with some person who his career then went to another level. And you're like, well, how do I do that? Well, you got to hang out with people in places where Bob and Mary, if you want to follow Bob and Mary's path, right? So then I started hanging out with Bob and Mary. And I was like, oh, wow. And then I was at a golf tournament, and Bob and Mary had a golf tournament, and I was there, and it was a small charity thing. And, what does it matter? Well, it mattered because I met a guy. The guy I met thought I was the golden ticket and paid for me to come run his company. And I was the golden ticket for him. And he was my golden ticket. Never would have got it unless I decided to change my elevation. And how do you change your elevation in life? This is the tough one. You got to change your friends. But I like my friends. So I deal with men a lot coming out of prison. It's a portion of my career. First thing I tell everybody, you got 30 days. I wouldn't be messing around with anything. For 30 days, I tell them, chill out, relax. You've been inside for what, 8 years, 5 years, something like that, or more. Let's go ahead and relax. You need to figure out how cell phones work nowadays because they're not the same cell phones. You need to understand what grocery stores are like. Have you seen the price of milk? Because when you went in 8 years ago, the price of milk wasn't what it is now. You know, and so you start to tell them to just relax for 30 days and kind of just take it all in because it's overload, folks. When you come out of prison to the society that we have, it's overload. And you got guys who never seen TikTok. They've never seen, all the different social medias. Swipe right, swipe up, swipe this, swipe what? And all of a sudden, they're getting hit by 1,000 scams that you and me see every day, but they've never seen them. And they're like, oh, people from my family just emailed me. They needed $20, so I sent it. And they've got this huge amount of information that's just flooding them. So I tell them to take off 30 days to chill. And then I say the next most important advice I can give a guy or a gal: don't connect with your old friends. Don't send messages. Don't call them. Don't say, hey, Bobby, I'm out of prison. Bobby's been out of prison. Bobby's been running dope. Bobby's been playing. Bobby's been banging. Bobby's been slanging. Bobby's been cutting and running. Why do you want to be back with Bobby? Well, Bobby's my friend, man. That's my boy. He had my back. So your boy who had your back, who's still slinging, and when you connect back, it's only a few more weeks and you're back slinging and you're back running and gunning. That is why I tell them don't connect. No, but my guy's good, man. My guy's a legit guy. He might be legit, but you're going back to old people, old friends, and the last time you were with them, they were bad behaviors. Do you? So when a guy's giving me all those excuses, but he's a solution blocker. He's not a solution finder as I titled it, solution maker. See, a solution maker says, so your advice to me, Bishop, is chill out and not hang out with my old friends. Yes. Okay. Okay. Let me find a new solution because you're a smart person. You got out, you figured out how to not go back, and you figured out how to make a successful system for the rest of us to follow. So I'm going to listen to you. That's the guy that makes it. That's the Cameron. That's those guys, the men who came out of prison and came into my group and then have gone on, the Jessies, the Pauls, the Mikes. They listen to advice when you give it to them. That's why they're leaders in our organization. And they hear the words and they actually go, hey, this guy cares about us. He doesn't make any money from us. Kind of an inconvenience, except, oh, that's right. It's his passion. It's his love for the guys that drives me. So now all of a sudden I have their attention. And the guy that says, so what if I can't hang out with my old friends, what do I do? That's a great question. I've got friends that would love to meet you. And I introduce them to my friends. Let me introduce you one of the first ones. I'm with him all the time. His name's Brian. That's one of my best friends in life. I call him my brother. He is my brother. We do Christmas, we do Thanksgiving together. We're together. I mean, we're together for life and death. You know, when his mother died, I went into the room at the ER to walk him out from her body being dead. I was unfortunately in the hospital having a surgery when his dad died, and I'd have been there for that too. And he's been there for me when I have lost people that I love dearly, even recently. And so we're family. So I introduce people to him and say, hey, come meet my friend. And my friend, he makes this much money. So he's sophisticated and he's dialed in and he's got his house almost paid off and he owns recreational vehicles and like 5 cars and I think 1, 2, 3, 4 boats and a yacht. And he started he's a big time construction guy in construction, been doing that forever in a lifetime. But he started his own construction too on the side and that's starting to take off. So You getting the picture I'm painting? This is a man that's sophisticated and understands life. Now he's just a good old boy. At the end of the day, he's likes a meat, potatoes, simple life. Wants to go up to the mountains. We do hikes all the time together. We take the men up to the mountains. He's a vice chairman of my company. If I die, it's his tomorrow. Let's introduce you to these people. So they go and meet the guy. And what do? They're asking like, well, what can you do for me? And how about this? And what about that? And I look and go, well, that guy ain't gonna cut it. And then you watch the other guy who goes, hey, Mr. Brian, do you need me to do anything here for you today? I mean, I know we're working on your property. We're doing a big volunteer thing, but Rev said, but I'm willing to come back. If you need extra help, I'd like to help. I mean, I would love for you to teach me how to do stuff. You said you were going to build that little fire pit area. How about I do the labor for you and you teach me how to do it? Now that guy, Brian's going to say, hey, JB, bro, can you send that cat over again? I want to teach him a trade, how to build the fire pit and stuff. And I'm going to show him how to do it. And he literally will go out in the backyard and not just say, do this. He'll be like, all right, let's place it. So I'll place a stone, you place a stone. We'll meet around and we'll draw. And he'll teach you how to do it and why to do it. And he'll tell you every code and everything that has to happen and all that stuff. And that's one man. And one of my guys connected with him. And now he's in construction and we're opening up a construction company for him in trucking. Okay. And my whole point is I elevate their friends and introduce them to mine. Now, if they're smart, they'll figure out how to go more to those events. So where's JB and his friends going? Oh, well, they're going to be at a barbecue. Well, I want to be at that barbecue because I want to be there. You see, when I wanted Tony Robbins to see me, I made sure I was places where Tony was. If I wanted Dr. John Maxwell, the leadership expert in the world, to know me, I went and met him through my father. And I said, Dad, give me an introduction. Next thing you know, now I'm down there at his house. Now we're friends. Now we associate in the same area in life. I didn't have any money when I started, folks. I started this with 20 bucks in my pocket after I lost everything. So how did I do it? Because I'm a solution maker and not a solution blocker. The guy that showed up at Brian's, I take him to all of my board members. I'm like, hey guys, listen, I got to go pick up some supplies for you free of charge by one of my board members, Peggy. Oh God, you'll love Peggy Ray. Peggy Ray all day, we say. She is just a ball of sunshine. We love her so much. She loves us. She's one of my closest advisors. You know, as I've gone through a drastic and dramatic divorce, she was one of my backbones. And I rely on her. She is the whisper of reason in me. So I tell them this, and then I tell them all about her and how she runs this huge, project that she does, and she helps changes the world, and she does it through therapy and counseling, and she goes throughout all the world for crisis. The Oso slide, she was there from day one and still counseling people from the Oso slide here in Washington, right down the street, all the way to crisis in Texas that she was just involved in with all that was down there. She went down with a group of people for counseling and all of that stuff. There's a massive amount. She's got all these properties she overseas in Washington. And I tell them all about her. And then I'm like, come meet her. And then I remember 2 times I took him. One guy was like, so what else do you have? And what else do you have? And what else can I get? What else do you have? But the other guy was going, do you ever need help? I can volunteer to help, like, box these up. So he's trying to find a solution to be part of a solution to the broader aspect, where the other guy's just being greedy and selfish and wanting to know about me, 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 I. I want you to hear that, folks. Well, it's about me. It's about me. I had a friend of mine. He's a billionaire. I had him come down and he wanted to know what we're doing. So he came out quietly, didn't want any fanfare, doesn't want to be introduced to anybody. We walked him through the project, showed him the places, let him see it all. He offered me 7 figures to purchase the controlling share of the organization. And I said, no. I appreciated it. It let me know how valuable we are. And so I went ahead and sat down with him. Guy looks like a bum, an old bum, to be honest with you. And so here I am. I'm wearing I think I was wearing a nice Tommy Bahama shirt. This is Tommy Bahama. Where am I? There's Tommy Bahama shirt. I think I was wearing one of the Tommy Bahamas. And I had on one of my baseball caps on backwards. I even had my boots. I learned this from him. Let me see if I can get it. I'm wearing my LL Bean boots. So I have a outfit that I'm wearing, but when I'm on the farm, I don't want to. I don't. If they say, "Hey, we need you up there on the tractor real quick to go do something," I go walking out of my office and I get on my boots and I head out and I get on Farmer Brown gets on the tractor and starts working. And I love this stuff, folks. I don't wait for anybody. I don't need anybody. I can do it all. And so I get out there working, and this guy's the same way. I learned it from him. So he's dressed even worse than me. And one of my guys met him. And I just said, it's an old friend of mine. That's all I said, which he is. Very old friend. 20 some, I was in my 20s before I was first married. So 97, I was first married, right? 98 or 97. I always forget. I think it was 98. Yeah, I was ordained in 97. So then something like that. Right around 97, 98 is when I first met my friend. And so he sat down, not knowing that the man in front of him is a billionaire. And all he did was spend that time. He knew he was a friend of mine. He didn't know anything about him. And that man could have, in 1 second, just wrote a check and changed that guy's entire life forever. I, I won't say he would have, but after listening to what he said, he actually would have. The guy passionately started telling me about what he's doing and how he's excited about his future. But then he just kept talking about, I need this and I need that. And everyone's got this problem. There's that problem. And I can't get this money because I don't have that, credentials. And I kept saying other things like, well, what about credentialing? Can we get you a class at the community college? Well, no, I have to go to UW. It has to be UW. Why does that? Why do you have to go to UW? If you go to the community college, I can get you your 2 year degree and then just transfer over to a smaller college and get the last probably year of it. You could be done with it in 3 years and be fully credentialed. No, you have to be UW. If I am not at UW, it's not worth it. You know, the sad part is my friend said, God, at first I was ready to say, how about I write the check so he can go to the community college until he blew up and said, oh, no, that's beneath me. That guy was going to write a check to put him through community college, then through the rest of his BA to get his bachelor's in the field he needed so he could be credentialed. And he was going to pay for the whole thing and write one check. And this idiot, and I call him an idiot, and I don't say it in a mean way, it's called a fact. I didn't want to be called an idiot when I was young. And so when I was an idiot, and my dad said, hey, you're an idiot. Like, well, I don't want to be an idiot again. So it made me think I probably shouldn't do that again. Yeah, this guy's an idiot because he's used to being the whiner. We've created a society, folks. You've heard me complain about it. You get a trophy because you participated. I know a whole bunch of those people. They come in our program, they use their free vouchers, and then they're homeless the next month because they don't. They're all about, I deserve this. I have Social Security. You don't have Social Security. You are lucky for a little while longer. You will have access to it. But that stuff's going, woo. And you all say, no, it won't. They just started getting rid of stuff, folks. Stuff disappearing. That's supposed to be a hand up and a help, not supposed to be your future. If you think Social Security is your future, you're the idiot who's going to be homeless for the rest of your life. And that's the what? The solution blocker. See, the solution blocker says, oh, well, there's other programs. People will take care of me. That's a blocker. A solution maker, well, I've got one of them. One of the guys that's watching this right now has got his job at a facility. He's secured it. He worked really hard. Not as hard as he should have. He worked hard. He did. But he could have done it 10 times bigger, faster, and been done and had already money rolling in. But a lot of times, that's the difference between the maker and the blocker. Both start with the word solution. Both end with a different word. One blocks the future while one finds the solution to the future. They make the solution. See, I could sit here all day and tell you, well, I mean, I'd like to buy that house. No one bought this place. This multi-million dollar project. No one bought it. So what's wrong with it? Nothing's wrong with it, but there were some complications, and everyone just saw block, 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 and I saw solution, 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 and I got the golden nugget. And everyone's going, hey, can I get? No, 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 no. You didn't see that. You saw block, block, block. And I saw solutions because I'm a solution maker. That's why companies will pay me millions of dollars to work for them. That's why they'll pay me millions of dollars to just talk to them. Why? Because they have a problem and they need a solution. and I'm a solution maker, and they pay big money for solution makers. I just hired a guy who knows nothing about life, literally nothing. But you put a puzzle in front of him and he finds a solution every time. So all that tells me he has no education, but he's a solution maker. So all I need to do is educate him. And this guy's a golden nugget. And that's how I found all the people that I have financially, what they call made millionaires. That's what I did. I just found people who were solution makers and not blockers. Blockers come and go. I've had a lot of them. I've had to go into my men's homes, which we don't even call men's homes. They're homes of hope. I've gone into Jonathan's Refuge and had to throw men out, physically remove them. Police, they have to leave. You don't want to leave. The police come in, you have to remove them. They're always the blockers. They're the ones that are the blockers. They always say why they couldn't work. Oh, I was sick, or I had a flu, or my back past came in and they didn't like it. And I don't know what happened. And I mean, I only applied at 2 places this week and they all turned me down. Well, what about the other 5 or 7 or 20 places in a week that you should be applying at? I'd be putting 3 to 5 resumes physically in the hand of someone and calling them and seeing them the next day in person. I'd beat the door down, and I did it for 30 days. And for 30 days, they told me no because you're a criminal. And I said, that's okay. I'll find a solution. I'm a solution maker. And I did. And I took one job, which led to a second job, which led to my third job. And I had 3 jobs. And I built up everything that we have right now off of my sweat and my labor and my hard work. Not waiting for someone else to make a solution. I wish my friend would call me and just say, well, listen, I'm a billionaire. I'll just give you, I've got $7 billion. So I'll just give you a $500 million and you'll be like set for life. This would be the greatest nonprofit in the world. And it would be. But am I waiting for any of those people? I'm 50 years old. I know better. I'm making it, and I'm making it for us. And I don't wait for others. I am a solution maker. What are you? Find out what you are. Go analyze your life. Sit back and calculate right now. Whenever JB says something, when Bishop talks to him, is it always me going, well, that's stupid. I can't do that. And you always find an excuse? You're the blocker. Oh, I can't do this because my job, or I can't do that because you're always the one that says, I can't, I can't, I can't. That word can't doesn't exist. Take it out of your dang vocabulary. Rip the word can't out and put in there. I might not be able to do it that way, but I could shift over and do it this way. I'm building a house right now, folks, a multi-million, an 8,000 square foot mansion, okay, for our organization. And I'm sitting here and I watch things shift every day. You got blueprints, but then the blueprints just had to be modified because we didn't realize there was actually not a wall there behind the wall. It was a fake wall from 1975 when you could do that. Well, that doesn't work because now you got to go and do things by code and all these other things. So as things shift, you have to adjust and find solutions in life. If you want to get to the top, be a solution maker, not a solution blocker. I love you guys. God bless you. My men at the refuge, I miss you all so much. I love you all. I know I went a few minutes over and I'm okay with that because I want to let you know how much I care about you. I appreciate you, all of my leaders. I love you all so much. I'm hoping after the holidays that things will start to kind of settle down. It's been a crazy, hectic ending of a year, having gone through all that I've gone through personally. And then my organization, having doubled its size, has been a big growth spurt. And yet, that also means outflow of new incomes that have to go out. And so things have been tight and yet fun and yet blessed and all exciting because of what we're doing and how God is blessing us. Thank you for your contributions. For those that don't know, we're a 501c3 and your donations are 100% tax write offs. We appreciate you. God bless. Take care. We'll see you next week.